Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Limitless Leadership Podcast. Before we get started, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, do all the things you need to on social media to help this podcast impact people and build leaders. And I'm joined by a great leader today, a unique leader in comparison to the ones I normally have on this episode. I'm joined by a friend of mine. He is a professional NASCAR driver, CJ McLaughlin. CJ, did I say your last name right?
Close enough.
McLaughlin, right?
Yeah.
There we go. Okay. So CJ, thanks for being here, man.
Dude, thanks so much for having me. I'm really excited to talk to you today.
Promotive is a recruiting partner built specifically for the automotive aftermarket, giving shops a smarter and more reliable way to hire technicians. Their team brings decades of industry experience together with real recruiting expertise. So they not only understand the work, you can trust that they understand your shop. Promotive handles every part of the hiring process. They source talent proactively, screen candidates thoroughly, and guide them through a structured, high-touch experience. Shops only meet candidates who are qualified, aligned, and ready to move. Shops partner with Promotive because they communicate clearly, they move quickly, and take ownership of the hiring process. They don't just forward resumes, they act like a true recruiting arm for your business. To learn more or start a search, visit gopromotive.com. Book a call, submit an opening, and see how Promotive helps shops hire better. Well, CJ, you and I got connected a couple weeks ago. You know, I first started learning about who you were through Tekmetric, and you attended SEMA that happened in Vegas not too long ago, and you were there with Tekmetric's crew. Your car was decked out in Tekmetric gear. It looks awesome. But share with the audience your relationship with Tekmetric, your relationship in the industry, because your primary sponsor is Main Street Auto, and also share with the audience who you are, what you do, and how you do it.
Yeah, so I started out with Main Street Auto back in 2023. It's crazy to think about, like that's that long ago. 2024. Yeah. So we've been going a couple of years now, and they use Tekmetric as their SaaS platform, CRM, and now their marketing tools. So Tekmetric and I started talking earlier this year, back in like June, and we started talking about, you know, what the possibilities are utilizing a NASCAR race to promote their brand, promote their identity, and like have customers, everyone who works on cars love NASCAR. So having them, and then we started talking about doing SEMA together and having a race car at SEMA because it was check flags all the way, and the car looks great. Like it looks great from a digital standpoint when you see a mock-up of the race car. And then when you see it actually on a race car, you're like, oh, wow, that looks killer. I can't wait to see it on track.
It looks cool. Very cool. So share with the audience. So who you are, what you do, how you do it. Like what got you into racing? Give us all the deets about CJ.
Yeah, for sure. So my dad stuck me in a race car when I was 10 years old. He grew up racing motorcycles and stuff, and Travis Pastrana was huge when I was a kid. And I was like, Dad, I want to race dirt bikes. And he was like, yeah, I did that. I broke every bone in my body. You're not doing that. So he stuck me in a car as soon as he could. It was just a 4-cylinder Cavalier. We would work on that thing. My first sponsor ever was a junkyard. So every time I get in a wreck, we just go to the junkyard, pick up a second car, and just cannibalize it, use it for parts. And I still remember how to take out like the whole front suspension because, like, you know, like in racing, it's like your whole front suspension is what matters. And we would try to trick it out. And, you know, I'd always break something in the right front, try and take somebody else out, or getting in a wreck, brush them against the wall. So yeah, a lot of 13 millimeter components and struts to that Chevy Cavalier.
Yeah. Okay.
So I grew up racing in the Northeast, and I got my lucky break to get into NASCAR. I say lucky. My friends are like, no, you worked for this, but it's a little luck, you know. What's that saying? Luck is preparation meets determination.
I like that. And I'm actually glad you're bringing this up because I do think it's important that we recognize that hard work and effort and energy, like all of that goes into the success that we have. But I mean, let's be real. Like there's some luck involved. I mean, like just being able to have certain thing. Like I equate it to like dominoes falling, and these dominoes are not always going to be great. Some of these dominoes are not going to be good at all. But what's interesting is in order to get to where we're trying to go, some of these dominoes have to occur, and these dominoes may not always be great, but it had to happen in order for us to achieve the final destination. Hey folks, running an auto repair shop, it's tough. We know that. And between managing repairs, keeping customers happy, and handling front office tasks, there's never enough time in the day. That's where HubShop Solutions comes in. Hub takes the burden off your team by building fast, accurate repair estimates and handling extended warranties, so you can focus on what really matters, running a profitable, efficient shop. With Hub, you free up your team, you boost efficiency, and you increase profits. So sign up now and get free onboarding. Visit hubshopsolutions.com to schedule a demo today. Hub Shop Solutions. Unlock your shop's full potential.
So So I went to college. I wasn't happy where I was working. I was going to college. I quit college. I went back, and sometimes I gripe on myself for like getting my degree because like I don't really use it where I am now.
Yeah.
But if I didn't go to college, I wouldn't have met my first sponsor.
Yeah.
My first big break. And so like I kind of bash on that because I would have never met them. So it's like tough. You know, you got to take the road less traveled sometimes to get where you want to go.
That's right.
In a weird way, for sure.
I like that you referenced the road less traveled. That is something that, especially, shop owners, entrepreneurs, business owners in general, you are taking the road less traveled. It is uncomfortable, and growth and comfort can't coexist. It requires getting in a different lane, a less traveled lane than all the others who have the comfort and the security and the benefits and all the things that come with this job security, for example. But you've chosen to take the road less traveled. But ultimately, if you keep on going, I'm a big believer in consistency and intentionality. You keep going. The most successful people in life are the ones who simply don't quit.
I think it's the amount of stress you can take on, how long you can hold your breath for, like when things aren't going your way.
Yeah.
Because I think people are so quick to react. It's like, okay, just take a breath,
Sure.
Reset, figure it out.
Yeah.
That's what I've been, and like, it's easy for me to say that. In practice, it's a lot harder because, when you have to pay rent or bills are coming up, it's, very much easier said than done. But
sure,
sometimes you need to just regroup and figure out a way to keep moving forward,
Talk to us about how you got into NASCAR specifically. Like what was that journey like, and how long have you been in NASCAR, and what does the future look like for you in NASCAR?
Going back to the preparation piece, I was just so I don't know how like categorize this, but like I was so overly confident in my abilities that I got to NASCAR and it like set me back in my ass, right? Like, okay, I'm
got humbled real quick.
Yeah. I'm not competing where I thought I was going to be. I wasn't prepared enough to do those long races. Like just being conditioned to take the heat for that long. Like I could do a local race here that's 100 laps, no problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you get into those stock cars that have no airflow going to them. It's 130 degrees in the car. It's just a different animal.
Okay.
And then those guys are doing it every single weekend. Whole different animal. So every skill set's different when you go to NASCAR. The aero dependency of I'm actually going through a corner at 170 miles an hour, leaning on the air. So if another car comes down and takes the air off, I'm like skating. I'm on ice.
Wow.
So learning those intricacies of NASCAR, that was a big learning curve for me. And I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm ready to make this step, and I wasn't, which is good because like that's how you learn, right? You learn at the edge of like frustration, right? Like I was very frustrated with my performance, and I learned a lot since then. This year, trying like for the last 2 years, I've been trying my hardest to put together a full season of partners and sponsors to get me on track. I don't come from a wealthy family, so everything I do on the races is dependent on like sponsorship.
Yeah.
And so the sponsors, Main Street Auto, Tekmetric, the people who get me on track is I'm very fortunate to have them in my corner because I'm able to go racing and promote their brand and have their customers out and have a great time with them. So
yeah, love that. It's a win-win. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
No, just working on our 2026 plans right now and just fighting the good fight,
All right, folks. As you know, great leadership isn't about doing everything the best. It's actually about having the right partners in your corner to build your shop's success. It's about putting the right team in place. It's about choosing the right vendors to make you a pro, making pro moves. And when I think about the pros, I think about shop marketing pros. The know, like, and trust factor, that's a real thing. And Shop Marketing Pros understands that. That's why I want to recommend Shop Marketing Pros to become your marketing partner in your shop. They get to know, like, and trust you and your business to then help your audience get to know, like, and trust you too, and bring your shop to the next level. So when I talk about making pro moves, this is the kind of move I'm talking about. This is the kind of standard-setting partnership that's going to elevate your shop. So if you're ready to become a pro in your shop, visit shopmarketingpros.com and partner with the best. Excellent. Fighting the good fight. NASCAR is often seen as a individual sport, but I think for anyone who really knows the sport knows that it is a team effort. Let me ask you, how do you build trust with your crew, CJ? And this can be applied. Of course, this is a leadership podcast. Like, how can a leader build trust with their team, knowing that it's always a we before me mentality? There's a team effort involved.
Yeah, so like for people who aren't familiar with NASCAR, I'll give you a quick breakdown. We have a crew chief that's in charge of the car, basically the team. He's basically like, so the crew chief I equivalent to the head coach of a football team.
Okay.
Right. And then we have a spotter who is like the offensive defensive coordinator. Then you have the driver, quote unquote, let's say quarterback, right? The crew chief is making the calls throughout the race. He's also setting up the car, and he's just in charge of the team, in charge of adjustments. So if I say my crew chief last year was Steve Addington, who was a great crew chief. He crew chiefs for Kyle Busch, Kurt Busch, Tony Stewart, all the big names in NASCAR. He's a great guy, engineering mind, genius, right? Borderline genius. I'll call him a genius. And I just know, like, every time I've worked with him, it just gets better and better. My communication with him gets better. The big part of NASCAR is communication, right?
Okay.
Where I'm sailing a car into a corner and I'm saying, Steve, I'm feeling this and this and this, right? I'm feeling that the car is getting loose and then tight and then loose again. And then he'll make an adjustment. And like sometimes I'm communicating the wrong thing. I'm saying it's loose when it's actually tight because I have so much wheel into the thing that all of a sudden it gets off the corner and it's about loose, but it's actually because I'm tight. And in trying to like refine that feedback I'm giving to him. So working together with him is great. And then the spotter is who's like calling the shots. Like, hey, CJ, go low, go high. There's a run coming up the high side, block that. So he's playing offense and defense at the same time sometimes.
Gotcha. So you mentioned Steve, your crew chief. You mentioned what makes your relationship great. One of many things is communication. Let me ask you, what breaks down a relationship with a crew chief?
Okay, so like the trust thing. So I've had crew chiefs that I don't work well with, where I'm asking for feedback and they don't want to tell me the wrong thing, but I'm like, just tell me something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's lack of communication there. Like I still need coaching in my career and I still need that feedback. So like I've had crew chiefs that like just don't give good feedback, or they've had drivers that say, well, this works for other drivers, it needs to work for you. And that's like, it's not one size fits all.
That's right.
Especially in racing,
I appreciate you sharing that, CJ. One of the things that from personal experience, I often coach people on the importance of creating safety and trust so that we can provide clarity and direction. And if you think about any job that you've either left or lost, it's very likely that you didn't have both clarity and direction. And at a previous place of employment, I remember having a conversation with my boss, with my leader, asking for clarity and direction on my future. Like I want to know, what does my future look like here? And he was reluctant to answer that question. And I think it's because he didn't want to be wrong. And I respect that. I understand the desire to not lead me astray, but I also was to the point where it's like, look, even if we're wrong, it's okay. Like, you're giving me something to work towards. You're giving me some kind of carrot on a stick, for lack of better terms, to move towards. Can you speak to how important it is for leaders to provide clarity and direction, knowing that the end in mind may be a destination that we're not going to get to, but we can pivot accordingly?
Right, because as long as you're pulling the rope in the same direction, like, it's going to go somewhere, right? Like,
I like
it's
that.
gonna the needle's going to move at some point. So as long as you're working towards a combined goal, it doesn't matter if it's like, if you're trying to get to Z and you get to at least Y, like, you made some progress there. You got to pat yourself on the back at some point and be like, all right, like, we moved the needle.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. I like the analogy of you're pulling the rope in the same direction. And the end in mind may not be where we're initially agreed to go, but we're still going somewhere, and we're going to move accordingly. We're going to pivot accordingly. You equated a crew chief to a head football coach.
Correct.
And something I've often shared is like, let's say you got two teams who are vying for a Super Bowl championship position. I mean, by the timing of this release, it's going to be right around Super Bowl time frame. By the way, you're in the Northeast, Boston, right? So are you a Pats guy?
I am Tom Brady guy, but
okay.
Yeah, Pats. I don't even follow it that bad. It's racing is all consuming. So
okay,
yeah, I know the Patriots. I know a couple teams.
Well, as of the timing of this recording, the Patriots are I know they're number one in the AFC East, and they might even be number one in the AFC right now. Like they have a pretty surprisingly good season with Drake May at quarterback. But let's talk about the equivalent of a crew chief and a coach. I often say that if these two teams who are competing for a Super Bowl, if one of them did not have a coach, would that team who did not have a coach be at a disadvantage? And the answer is undoubtedly yes, right? I mean, it's like, well, yeah, I mean, like they need a coach. Would you say that as a driver, if you didn't have a crew chief, are you at a disadvantage?
1,000,000%, because you need someone on your side who is helping, like as a race car driver or as a driver in general. Like I can only see so much.
Yeah.
Same with the spotter.
Yeah.
I can only see so much around me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you always get tunnel vision in a way. So like same with the quarterback, he can only see so much. He can only see what's happening on the field so much.
Right.
So you need someone kind of orchestrating, just like in business, you need someone orchestrating. And like I heard a quote about a CEO like that. He's not thinking about like the next year. He's thinking about the next 5 years.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
He's thinking about that like pathway forward for the next 5 years and paving that pathway forward.
That's truly being a forward-thinking leader too, where you're not just thinking about the next step, you're thinking about the next 5 steps, the next 10. So the whole reason I bring up this question is, in life, in business, it's the same thing. Like we all need someone who can help us identify our blind spots. As a driver, you're going to have like literal and figurative blind spots. So that's why you have a spotter. That's why you have a coach. But even in life, we have blind spots. And if you're listening to this episode thinking, Josh, you don't know me, I don't have a blind spot, that's a blind spot. And so we all need a coach. This is why even as a coach myself, I have my own coach. I have a counselor I work with. I think if people who've listened to this episode or this podcast, they've heard me say this plenty of times. So everyone knows I have a coach. I will likely always have a coach. But even in business, we need to have someone who can help us get out of that tunnel vision, help us identify the blind spots, help us see the things that we don't see, and help us pull something out of us that we don't know that we had inside of us. And so let me ask you, CJ, from a leadership, it's a leadership podcast. We've already talked a little bit about leadership and how it ties to the track. If I were to just ask you, what does leadership mean to you? How would you answer that question?
I think it's like the best leaders I've had have like led by example, right? Like are going out there, not dictating, they're leading by example and working with you, helping you get to that, to the goal. It's like if you're out shoveling, right? Just a super, like I'm looking at snow outside. If you're out shoveling, like they're shoveling with you, right? Like, one thing I've heard before, and like, I have friends who work in construction, like a foreman, he's not the boss on site. He's doing the work of foreman,
Yeah.
That's why they call it a foreman back in the day.
Okay.
So that's why I think I'm a good leader.
Hey, I want to say thank you for sharing that. A shop foreman is a typical role in an automotive repair shop, and that's the bulk of my audience is in the automotive repair industry. I've never heard the term foreman being foreman. Like I've never heard that in terms of like how it was used, and I wonder. I mean, I got to assume it's very similar. That's where it came from.
Yeah, it might be bullshit. It might be jokes inside, but trying to get me to work harder. You can do work for men, but
yeah,
who knows?
Well, hey, let me ask you. So, I know that having never been on the track, I've never taken a vehicle past like 90 miles per hour, let alone 170 around a turn. So, I mean, you're talking about speeds that I could only consider, and I won't even try to dream of because it's probably going to be a nightmare for me. But there are probably some times in your life, in your racing career, where you've had some mistakes, and maybe some mistakes that have cost the team. Let me ask you, CJ, how do you respond after a bad race or a mistake that might cost the entire team?
Yeah, so going back to 2023, I had some like really rough learning mistakes where I didn't have the good people around me to reassure me. It actually went the other way where they created doubt in my mind, which just
Mm,
spiraled me out of control, which was the
mhm.
worst.
Yeah,
So after that, I actually got a performance coach to help me get my mind back on straight because like racing's like 99% mental, right?
yeah,
Being able
yeah,
to hold the gas wide open to a corner and just have like pure faith or just hope and pray that the car sticks.
sure.
So like I had the wrong people around me um at that point in time when I did make like stupid mistakes. I was trying to push the boundaries and trying to make the car go faster than it could. But like as a driver, you have to do that, right? Like so it was a delicate balance of maybe I shouldn't have made those mistakes, but like it was good for me. It was a good learning curve. I just didn't have the right people around me to like help me build myself back up after making those mistakes.
I applaud you for the acknowledgement and realization of, these people who are in my corner are not giving me what I need to be able to bounce back from something. And so recognizing the importance of hiring someone, like seeking professional help in the form of a performance coach to help you recognize and tackle the often the most challenging battle we're ever going to face, which is in between the years. And I'll say, like, that's why any type of coaching, it starts with mindset. It starts with recognizing and really tapping into unrecognized potential to achieve limitless results, where you're starting to challenge these perceived limitations that you have. Let me ask you, what was the greatest piece of coaching feedback or advice that you got from your performance coach to help you develop a strong mindset as a racer?
So like the biggest thing I faced was like performance anxiety and you know
Explain that. What performance anxiety? What is that?
yeah. So like I had a couple crashes and it was just like it was like endless loop of like don't like I would get in the car and be like just don't crash, don't crash, don't crash, don't
Yeah,
crash, and I had to get out of the cycle. I think maybe some like business leaders can think about it as like don't mess up, don't mess up. So it's like the over analyzing
yeah.
before just making a decision. So I like to relate that back. And so like what it came down to too was like preparation, how I prepare for a race, all the shit I need to get ready for a race, have it all done the night before, right? The mantras I would speak to myself, right? Like I'm the best driver. I am the best driver.
Yeah.
Help everyone else, like maybe in reality I'm not, but if I tell myself I am, I will become that one day.
That's right. Yeah, I
You
like
know?
that.
It's really the power of visualization. It's the power of manifestation.
Mhm.
I believe in both of these. Even as a faith based person, CJ, like I believe in faith over fear, and we know that the similarity between faith and fear is that they both believe in a future that hasn't happened yet. And
Yeah.
I know that I can I have a long way to go and a long way to grow, but I know that God is in control. I also believe in manifestation and in visualization and surrounding myself with people who believe in me and surrounding myself with thoughts and um, even things that I listen to, things that I watch. Like I make it a point to only focus on the things that are going to drive me forward, because otherwise, especially as an entrepreneur, as a business owner who is really on the ground floor of trying to build something big, it's very easy to let our thoughts get in the way. And we know that our thoughts dictate feelings, our feelings dictate actions, and our actions dictate results. So if I'm not achieving the results I want to achieve, what are the thoughts I'm having? Like, how can I challenge those thoughts? How can I question those thoughts? I'll ask you, as a driver, you are having to think very quickly. Split second decisions. And a lot of us would naturally start second guessing, or we would start questioning whether that was the right decision or not. So you have to be decisive. And that's hard. Speak to the listening audience who struggles with being decisive and how to make a decision and stick to it and just trust the process.
Yeah. You're probably not gonna like this answer. The best racing I do is when I'm in the flow state. I'm not thinking. I'm just doing
Okay,
it.
good. No, yeah. Elaborate. Tell me more.
Yeah, that's like there was at Charlotte last year. There was a crash in front of me, and I just went right. I was like, all right, they're gonna break left. I'm gonna go right. And you just react, and you're
Okay.
not thinking about it. You're not like over analyzing. You just do it because like
Yeah.
yeah, you make 10 decisions in life, right? Like maybe you go 6 and 4, but like that's better than going 0 and 1,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So Uh,
What is that? What kind of feeling does that give you when you are in that flow state? Like describe that flow state, and the feelings that you have while you're in it.
it's so it's something you want to achieve sometimes. Like sometimes you never hit that, right? Sometimes you're in
Yeah.
a race and it's like you have a caution or something that happens and you're trying to get back in the zone. But when you're in it, it's just like you're jamming. You know what I mean? Like you're
Yeah.
just in a rhythm and you're vibing, as the kids say.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like you're just doing what you need to do, doing clicking off lap times, and you're having fun. It's like you have to have fun to get there, right? Like you
Yeah.
have to have fun, it's so much easier said than done. Like having to have fun, having fun in business when something's going wrong. But like with racing, there's so many variables out of your control. You gotta like push the variables out of control and like do what you can.
When you describe the flow state and the way that you're describing the feeling that you get, it makes me think of there's been a few times in my life where I feel like I've had something like this, where I almost equate it to like euphoria, where
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I'm not a runner, but I've ran, periodically, and one time in my life I got that runner's high. Like I think we've all heard of the runner's high,
uh-huh,
and it's like it's unbelievable. And I've only had it once, but even when I was younger, I'm not a tall guy. If you ever met me in person, I mean, people are often surprised at how short I actually. I mean, I'm 5'8", but they're like, oh, I thought you were taller. That I get that a lot. But I played basketball when I was younger, and I was a pretty good shooter, and I could score the ball pretty well. And there were times when I would just get in the zone, and it's just this state of like, just I just knew it was going to go in every single time. Like
right.
put the ball in my hands, right?
Yeah. That's what you just know what's gonna happen. Like
Yeah.
I know I'm gonna come off this corner. I'm gonna come an inch away from the wall and like sail down the backstretch, and I'm gonna hit the next corner again.
There are times now, in my professional career as an adult where, I'm the bulk of what I do is coaching, training and speaking, especially with training though, where I'll kind of get in this flow state. It's just this kind of rhythm where I just feel good, and we have the attention of the room, and the minds and hearts are captivated, and we're just going and flowing, and it feels amazing. And the for me personally, the thing that I love most about that experience is, if you knew me a decade ago, I'm not supposed to be doing that. Like, I'm not supposed to be in front of people doing public speaking. I'm not supposed to be doing that. But there's been a lot of years of getting comfortable being uncomfortable, a lot of
Yeah.
practice, a lot of mistakes, a lot of failures that help me continue to be the best version I can be. Far from perfect. It's not often pretty, but there are some moments where it just feels so good. Let me ask you, CJ, for someone who is honing their craft the way you are as a driver, by the way, I called you a racer earlier, and then I realized that's probably not even the right
No,
term. So
same,
yeah,
man.
racer,
I would
driver,
race.
I don't know.
I will race anything with wheels or like
Okay.
anything.
Okay.
Boat, probably not a boat.
Probably not a boat.
But yeah, anything. I would race anything.
Okay. Anything with wheels, noted. So, but let me ask you, for someone who's honing their craft and regularly putting in the work, getting comfortable being uncomfortable. We know that growth and comfort can't coexist. Talk to the listening audience about what it's like or really the importance of being consistent. Like, just keep doing it. Keep doing it. Like if you want to be good at something, start doing it. If you want to be great, keep doing it. Can you speak to the listening audience about that concept?
I should have a little story for that. So I'm coaching a young driver right now, young racer. I like racer better than driver almost.
Okay, cool. Good to know.
Um, I'm coaching this young racer, and we went to a track for the first time. And he gets out of the car, and he's so frustrated with his lap times and everything. And I'm like, "Good, man, that's great." And he was so mad. He was like, "Why is that great?" I'm like, "Because that's you're learning. You're learning something new. You're learning how to be uncomfortable, and you're learning what you need to do to get better." Like we're right at that like learning stage, right? Frustration.
Yeah.
You're gonna start learning. You're gonna start learning where you need to improve. This was a track that like a lot of racers use iRacing. A hopped up video game. I got one in my background here to prepare, and this was a track that he had never been on before, never simulated it in his mind. So it was a whole new like
Oh, wow.
all these learning curves. There weren't many markers on the track of where to lift, where to brake, and where to kind of drive into. So like it was a great learning experience. And he was so frustrated and so mad at me, right? But I'm like, this is great,
Yeah.
because like it's so funny too. As like coaching him, I'm on his case about everything that he needs to do, and I'm like, oh, I should be taking my own advice here.
Yeah.
That was a learning thing for me, where I'm asking him to break down the whole corner, entry, middle, exit, and I'm like, wow, I need to be taking my own advice here too. So
There's power in perspective. With perspective, the way that we view things drives the way that we do things. And you gave a ultimate perspective shift to that young man. And I applaud you for recognizing, hey, you know what? Like, I'm going to start practicing what I preach. Not start. I know you're already doing that.
no, I need to start even harder. Like
Well, I can.
journaling too. I've been on his case about journaling after a race, right? Like
Yeah.
learning, like, hey, this is what I went through in practice. This is what I went through in qualifying. And my performance coach was on me. We're so exhausted after races. I know that's an excuse, but I need to be better about that. I need to be better about like, because it helps me when I go back and look at notes. Like, okay, this happened.
That's
This
right.
happened. This happened.
That's right. I love that you mentioned journaling. That's one of the practices that I encourage my own clients to do. And as a coach, I've learned that obviously we want to practice what we preach, but one of the greatest benefits about being able to coach people is the things that you learn while coaching. And I mean, like you yourself get so much from coaching others. And it was really an unexpected reward that I wasn't planning, wasn't expecting whenever I started. But there's power in journaling, and I'm glad that you mentioned this, because I do want to share this with the audience, what journaling really could and should look like. And it sounds like your performance coach suggested journaling to you. I'll tell you, the first time I hired a counselor, my first counselor suggested that I journal, and then shortly thereafter, I decided to hire a coach, because I realized like counseling is helping tremendously. Now let me get some professional coaching to tie into this. My first coach encouraged me to journal as well. And so when I started journaling, what I learned, and I learned this from my first coach, he shared this analogy that has stuck with me to this day and has really changed how I view journaling. Because when you hear journaling, a lot of people are going to think, like, are you saying like you're going to write a diary, like, dear diary, today I did X, Y, and Z? No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying
had
is
scrambled eggs instead of
yeah. And what I'm saying is this: humans have up to 60,000 thoughts per day, and studies show that 80% of our thoughts are negative and 90% of our thoughts are repetitive. So we're always trying to figure out life on the fly unless we journal. And what journaling looks like is you start putting pen to pad and you start working out the challenges that you're experiencing. You start asking questions about the questions that you're having, and you get answers, and then you have this deductive modeling where you can get clarity and direction through it. And here's the analogy they gave me. He said, Josh, answer this question: 362 times 748. What's the answer? And I'm like, I can't give you that answer. I said, can I use my calculator? And I held my phone up. He said, you can't use your calculator, but you can use a pen and pad. He gave me a pen and pad. All right, 362 times 748. So I haven't done this kind of math since my school days, but I'm going to try to remember how to do this. I work it out. I carry the one, and eventually I get this answer, right? Now, it takes me a couple minutes, but if I try to work that out in my head, imagine how long that would take me to get the answer.
right.
Journaling is just like that, where you just start working things out. You ask the question that you're struggling with, you answer the question. Then you ask a question based on that answer, you answer that question. And you keep on doing this. And before you know it, after 15, 20 minutes, there's some clarity and direction that you've been able to receive because of the power of journaling.
Well, that's like the part of the other thing with like counseling too, is where you're able to verbalize your idea in your head or your problem, and you're able to talk it out, and that helps you formulate a solution too.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I like it. It's really, a lot of us, we have the answer, but a coach or a counselor or someone who we allow to speak truth into our life can pull it out of us through asking the right questions.
Well, I think too, like the biggest energy suck anyone can have, and I know everyone, the random conversations you have that aren't real with people, right? Like, they're gonna say this, and I'm gonna say this back, and and like, it's never happened. It's not gonna happen. It's never gonna happen exactly how you think it's gonna happen, and it's such an energy suck out of your life that, like, again, easier said than done, but we all have those.
One of the greatest mistakes any of us can make is assuming all of our thoughts are true, and we don't have these conversations because we think it's going to go a way that it often doesn't. And that's why even as leaders, we often struggle with having quote unquote difficult conversations because we expect them to be difficult. Let me ask you, since we're on this topic, like, what does it look like to have the necessary conversation, but it doesn't have to be a difficult one?
I think just starting it, like, hey, let's give me 5 minutes, we'll talk it out. I actually had a very poor leader a couple years ago where it's like, I know they would be mad at me, and I'd be like, let's just resolve this. Like, I hated that anxiety of knowing they were upset with me.
Yeah.
And it seemed like they just didn't want to resolve it. They didn't want to have a tough conversation of like, hey, I messed up, you messed up, whatever it was, I probably messed up, but like, let me apologize at least,
Yeah.
like, it was that like, that feeling of like, it's like a dark cloud hanging over you.
Oh yeah. No, trust me, I do know. And good on you for stepping up and saying, let's go ahead and just get through this. We're going to go through it, but we're going to grow through it as well. CJ, final question for you. We talked about coaches. We talked about, you have a performance coach. We talked a lot about the importance of having someone to speak truth into our life. Let me ask you, what is the best advice that you've ever received from a coach or a mentor?
I don't know if it's the best advice, but something that stuck with me through the years. I was going back to college and, struggling financially. And this guy, Rob Sturgis, great guy, great mentor of mine. He also races. I was like, Rob, I think I need to go back to college. And he was like, yeah, like just get in a bunch of debt. Like they can't take your name away, like, whatever it takes. And I was like, yeah, man, they can't take my name away. Right. So I've been laying all my chips on the table since then.
Yeah.
just going after it, man. Cause like, I think at the end of the day, like, I don't want to live my life with regret. And I don't want to have any regrets when I'm 80 years old. Like, oh, I should have done this. I should have done that. Like, I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Putting all your chips on the table, going all in. Hey man, hey man, I'm a fan. I'm excited to watch your journey, to follow along with you. Let me ask you, where are you racing next? Like, what does the next few months look like for you?
Yeah, I'm hoping Daytona. And then that's a big kickoff of the season. So Daytona is like the big one. So
okay, awesome.
Hopefully Daytona, man. I'm praying.
Okay, awesome, man. Well, hey, we're gonna be praying right along with you. Hopefully, we'll see you there. CJ McLaughlin, everyone. CJ, how can our audience get in touch with you if they do want to consider sponsoring you? I think that's a great question to ask right now. Like, let's help this man out. How can we do this?
Yeah, so hit me up on LinkedIn, CJ McLaughlin, or Instagram, cjmclaughlin.racing. My name's a mouthful, but happy to help promote your brand.
So it is CJ McLaughlin. I would say McLaughlin. Man, you let me just butcher it the entire time. My bad.
It's all good.
All right, well, CJ, man, thanks again for joining me on the show. And hey, man, best of luck to you. Best wishes in all the things that you're doing. I think you got a great head on your shoulders. I think that you have a great career ahead of you. So, man, keep on pressing on.
Well, dude, I appreciate you saying that. I really appreciate you saying that. I was just saw a post that was like, I think it's like you don't find who you are, you build who you become.
That's strong.
And I was like, whoa, that's like, yeah, you don't find yourself one day. Like you have to build yourself.
That's right. That's right.
I've not had a good head on my shoulders. I've like not made all the best moves, but like I keep trying to be positive. I think that's the end of the day is like just be positive.
Hey man,
we're trying to wrap up and then I got started again.
No, hey, all good. Like we can keep on going because now I have a rant to go on because like what you just shared, it's the dominoes. Like trust me, I mean I'm 43. I've been through a lot. I've had a lot of ups and downs, a lot of failures in my life. There's a lot of dominoes that I had in my life that were not great. I mean, and not proud of. Poor decisions, poor ways of handling things, and ultimately, it's one of those things where it's like, look, I don't like that these things happened. I could have done a much better job of handling them and changing the way things went, but they happened. And they're in my rearview mirror now, and my windshield is significantly larger than my rearview mirror. And so I can press on. I can know that where I'm at right now is because of those dominoes, good, bad, and indifferent. And I'm going to keep on moving forward. And ultimately, man, you got a long road ahead of you. And pun intended, I guess, long road ahead of you. But man, hey, best of luck to you. Like I really envision big things for you in your future.
Dude, greatly appreciate it, Josh.
Thank you, man. And thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Limitless Leadership Podcast. As you know, every episode we look to transform our leadership skills by tapping into unrecognized potential to achieve limitless results. So thanks again, everyone. Have a great day. Don't forget to smile today. Tell your loved ones how much they mean to you. I'm Josh Parnell, reminding you to keep leading well.